Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're diving into something truly fascinating, a project called Helium, or HNT. It sounds a bit like science fiction, almost, but it's actually reshaping how we think about wireless internet, specifically how it's built and, well, who controls it.
That's exactly right. Imagine a world where the internet isn't just controlled by, a handful of massive corporations, but is instead built and owned by all of us. That's really the ambitious mission behind Helium.
All of us, okay.
Yeah. So for this deep dive, we'll explore how they're using this unique blend of community participation and blockchain tech to build global wireless networks. We'll break down the real-world problems they're trying to solve, maybe demystify some of the tech behind it, and most importantly, what it actually means for someone like you listening.
Okay, so when I think about my phone or, my smart devices, I just kind of expect them to work. But are there actually big underlying problems with how we get internet and mobile service right now that Helium is trying to fix? Is it more than just like the occasional dropped call?
Oh, absolutely. The issues run much deeper than just a spotty signal here and there. Think about the current telecom landscape. Building traditional wireless networks, all those cell towers, miles and miles of cables, it costs billions. Just billions.
Right, huge infrastructure costs.
Exactly. Which means only a few really huge companies can afford to enter the market and then maintain it. And this often leads to what we call monopolies, or close to it. These giants, naturally, they prioritize densely populated cities for the biggest returns.
Makes sense from their perspective.
Sure, but it often leaves vast areas with dead zones or just poor, maybe overpriced service.
So if you live outside a major city, you might be out of luck or paying way too much for, frankly, not great service.
Precisely. And it's not just about phone coverage anymore. Consider the explosion of tiny smart devices, the whole Internet of Things or IoT things like dog trackers, smart garden sensors, maybe industrial monitors on a factory floor.
Yeah, those things are everywhere now.
They are. But for these devices, regular cellular data is often way too expensive and it just drains their batteries too quickly. So you have this growing demand for connected devices, but the traditional infrastructure just isn't really designed to support them efficiently or affordably. The barriers to entry for any new telecom player are just astronomical, which kind of stifles innovation and competition for truly global, accessible coverage.
Okay, so we've got these big companies, massive costs, significant coverage gaps, especially for these little IoT gadgets. How does Helium propose to fix this? Can you give me like a simple analogy? What's the big picture idea here?
Right. This is where Helium really tries to flip the script. Imagine services like, say, Airbnb or Uber, but apply that concept to internet access.
Okay, like sharing resources.
Exactly. Instead of giant corporations owning all the infrastructure, Helium lets you become an active participant in building the network. It's often called the People's Network.
The People's Network, I like that.
Yeah. So you set up a small device called a hotspot, maybe in your home or your business, and you contribute to building this global wireless network. And in return for that contribution, you get rewarded with their digital token, HNT. The core idea is really to democratize wireless infrastructure, shift the control and the economic benefits away from these centralized corporations directly to individuals and communities.
That is a powerful idea, turning everyday people into like mini network providers.
Yeah.
So if I were to put one of these hotspots in my house, how does that actually work to provide internet? Is it just like boosting my home Wi-Fi signal, or is it something totally different?
That's a great question, and it's a bit more nuanced than just extending your home Wi-Fi, though there are some similarities, I suppose, with the idea of a shared network. A Helium hotspot is actually designed to support two distinct wireless networks, each serving different kinds of needs.
Through networks, okay.
Yeah. So for those smaller IoT devices we were just talking about, sensors, trackers, that kind of thing, your hotspot provides coverage using a special low-power technology called LoRaWAN.
LoRaWAN. Right.
Yeah, it's perfect for things that just need to send tiny bits of data over pretty long distances without killing their battery. Think like a smart water meter sending a reading once a day, or a delivery truck pinging its location every hour. It's incredibly energy efficient.
Gotcha. Low power, long range for small data.
Exactly. Then, for mobile phones and more traditional broadband needs, your hotspot can also provide coverage using standard 5G and even Wi-Fi technology, just like your regular cell service. And this is the focus of Helium Mobile, which is their consumer-facing service.
Okay, so it's not one size fits all. It's tailored LoRaWAN for IoT, 5G Wi-Fi for phones. But how does Helium make sure these hotspots are actually, doing what they're supposed to do? Not just plugged in, but sitting idle. And how do I, as a hotspot owner, actually earn those HNT tokens?
Ah, that's the truly clever part, and it really gets to the heart of the whole decentralized aspect. Helium uses something called proof of coverage, or POC for short.
Proof of coverage. Okay.
Think of it like this. Your hotspot periodically sends out a unique encrypted hello signal, like a challenge, into the airwaves. Other nearby hotspots, which are called witnesses, they listen for that signal and then confirm they heard it. This cryptographically proves that your hotspot is truly online, active, and providing real wireless coverage in its specific location, rather than someone just trying to game the system.
So it's like they're constantly checking on each other.
Exactly. The more often your hotspot successfully participates in these challenges and witnesses others, the more HNT you earn. It's like this continuous, decentralized health checkup for the entire network, ensuring its integrity.
Okay, so it's not just about being connected, but actively proving your usefulness to the network. Which
Mhm.
makes sense for earning the tokens. But then what about when someone actually uses the network? Say an IoT sensor sends some data, or someone makes a call using Helium Mobile. How do they pay for that data? Do they pay with HNT directly?
No, not directly, and this is actually a really crucial point for keeping prices stable. Users don't pay with the HNT token itself because its value can, fluctuate.
Right, like most crypto.
Exactly. So instead, they burn HNTs, essentially remove it from circulation to get something called data credits, or DCs. And these data credits have a stable, fixed value. Think of them like a prepaid phone card or maybe a utility credit. One data credit is always fixed at exactly 0.00001 USD.
Okay, a tiny fraction of a cent, but stable.
Precisely. So when a device transmits data, it uses up these data credits. The act of burning HNT to create these credits creates a direct, real-world utility for the HNT token itself, which fuels the entire system. And it provides a predictable cost for using the network, which is absolutely essential for businesses.
That's a really clever mechanism. You get the crypto incentive for the providers, but stable pricing for the users. Now, I heard Helium recently made a pretty big change to its underlying technology. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. That's another really critical piece of the puzzle for Helium's evolution. In April 2023, the entire Helium system went through this massive migration. It moved its blockchain from its original custom-built one over to a super-fast digital ledger called Solana.
Solana. Okay, I heard of that one. That sounds like a huge undertaking.
Oh, it was monumental. Migrating a live network with hundreds of thousands of active devices to a completely new blockchain, that's a massive engineering challenge. But it was seen as absolutely essential for future scalability, for speed, and for lowering transaction costs. This switch significantly boosted the network's capacity, jumping from maybe 10 transactions per second on the old chain to over 1,600 on Solana.
Wow, that's a huge jump.
It is. And that massive increase in throughput is absolutely essential for a network that's constantly handling these proof of coverage challenges from, hundreds of thousands of hotspots where every device needs to constantly verify its presence, plus handling potentially millions of daily data packets from actual users.
So it's really about being able to handle the sheer volume of data and transactions that a truly global network needs.
Precisely. And one other cool thing they did to make ownership and management simpler, especially when you're dealing with potentially millions of individual hotspot devices, is that each hotspot is now represented as a compressed NFT, or CNFT, on Solana.
A compressed NFT, what's that?
It's basically a way to handle massive amounts of NFTs much more efficiently and cheaply than traditional NFTs. It allows Helium to track and transfer hotspot ownership at a scale and cost that just wouldn't have been feasible before. It's vital for managing a decentralized network of this size, and really shows their commitment to adapting the core architecture for massive scale and future growth.
Okay, that's a lot of clever tech working behind the scenes, but let's bring it back down to earth. Beyond the technology, what are the actual tangible benefits for me, maybe a regular person, or even for local businesses? How does this make things better in my day-to-day life?
Yeah, really important question. For you, the listener, probably the most direct and impactful benefit is potentially much more affordable mobile phone service. Helium Mobile, which is their consumer service currently operating in the US, offers unlimited plans for as low as, I think, $20 a month.
$20, unlimited. How do they manage that?
Well, they achieve this by cleverly combining coverage from the community-run hotspots with roaming agreements on big traditional networks like T-Mobile. So your phone seamlessly switches between the Helium network where it's available and the partner network where it's not. And we're seeing really rapid adoption. They hit over 311,000 Helium mobile subscribers by Q2 2025, and that number is climbing fast because, well, the value proposition is pretty compelling. It's a true hybrid model.
Okay, cheaper mobile service is definitely a big plus. What about for businesses?
For businesses, especially those using lots of smart devices, it means a dramatically cheaper and often more energy-efficient way to do things like track assets, monitor agriculture, or manage smart city sensors. Things like parking availability, air quality monitoring, or even flood detection.
Real-world examples.
Yeah. Imagine a logistics company tracking all its packages across a city without paying huge monthly data fees for every single tracker. Or think about a town deploying flood sensors like they did in Porto, Portugal. Getting those early warnings can save lives and property. We've also seen it used in places like museums to monitor humidity and temperature to help preserve delicate exhibits, all without needing complex, expensive custom infrastructure.
Those were really powerful practical applications. And for the people hosting the hotspots, what's in it for them besides the HNT?
Well, for the individuals and businesses actually hosting those hotspots, it's primarily about earning that passive income in HNT tokens. But it's also about contributing to something genuinely useful, a global network. It's kind of like getting paid to help improve the internet for everyone, turning your home or your office into a sort of mini telecom hub. And the project has even managed to forge significant partnerships with international players like Telefonica over in Mexico and even AT&T for Wi-Fi offloading, which really indicates serious real-world demand and validation of this hybrid approach.
Okay, this does sound almost too good to be true sometimes. Building a global, affordable network by the people, for the people. What are the catches? Are there any big risks or, things that could potentially go wrong with such an ambitious decentralized network?
You're absolutely right to ask. No project of this scale comes without its challenges. Probably the biggest ongoing one is finding that right balance between supply, meaning all those amazing hotspots providing coverage, over 380,900 of them now globally, and actual demand, real people and devices using that coverage and burning data credits.
Right, the network needs users.
Exactly. For the original IoT network, the actual data usage and therefore the data credit burn was historically quite low. At one point, it was generating only about $100 a day in revenue across hundreds of thousands of hotspots, which, meant the economic incentive for those early IoT hotspot operators could be pretty small.
$100 a day spread across all those devices? Ouch.
Yeah, not huge. However, the Helium mobile network is rapidly changing that whole dynamic. It's now driving a staggering 98.9% of all data credit burn as of Q2 2025.
Wow, so mobile's really carrying the load now.
Massively. It shows a huge shift in usage and demand towards the mobile side. But the project's long-term success still kind of hinges on Helium Mobile continuing to attract millions of subscribers. If that demand doesn't keep up its rapid growth, then that core economic engine where HNT is burned for data credits, it won't reach its full potential.
Makes sense. Any other risks?
Well, also, the value of HNT itself, like pretty much any digital token, can be volatile. We saw HNT experience a significant drop in value during Q2 2025, for instance, and that directly affects how much hotspot operators are effectively earning in, say, dollar terms.
So the economic model really relies heavily on Helium Mobile succeeding, and the reward value can swing quite a bit.
Yeah.
But wasn't there also a pretty significant regulatory challenge? I sort of remember hearing about an SEC lawsuit. That sounds really serious. What actually happened with that?
Ah, yes. That's a crucial point. And actually, it's where the story gets particularly interesting, especially for the broader decentralized infrastructure sector. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, they did indeed sue Nova Labs, the main company behind Helium, back in January 2025.
Oh, wow. What were they claiming?
They alleged that selling the hotspots was effectively like selling unregistered investments, unregistered securities. If that had stuck, it would have been a major, possibly fatal blow to the project.
Gosh, yeah. So what was the outcome? Did Helium have to shut down or drastically change?
Quite the opposite, actually. And this is incredibly significant. In April 2025, the SEC withdrew its main charges. They dismissed them with prejudice, which is legal speak, meaning they can't bring those same specific claims again.
They withdrew the charges. That's huge.
It was a massive defining victory for Helium, and it potentially sets a really crucial precedent for the entire decentralized physical infrastructure network, or DePIN sector, as it's often called. Nova Labs did end up settling for a relatively small fine, about $200,000, related to some past misleading statements they'd made about partnerships. But the absolutely crucial point is that the court dismissed the core claim that hotspots themselves were unregistered securities.
So they got regulatory clarity.
Exactly. It provides significant regulatory clarity, which is incredibly rare and highly sought after in the whole blockchain space. And it gives Helium a unique advantage, perhaps, over competitors who might still be facing similar legal uncertainties or battles down the road.
So the project managed to navigate a major legal storm, which must be a huge relief for them, and a pretty strong validation of their model.
Absolutely. So, while things like market volatility and the constant need for user growth remain key challenges, that major regulatory hurdle has largely been overcome, which really strengthens Helium's position going forward. Of course, there's still competition from the traditional telecom giants like AT&T and Verizon, and also from other decentralized projects popping up like Roam and Wayru. But Helium's got a substantial head start, a pretty established network now, and this newfound regulatory clarity, which positions it strongly to carve out its niche. So what does this all really mean when we zoom out? Helium is, well, it's a pioneering project. It leverages community-run hotspots and crypto incentives to build genuinely decentralized wireless networks. And that's for both those low-power IoT devices and for high-bandwidth mobile phones. It's a powerful demonstration, really, that everyday people can potentially own and operate parts of the internet's core infrastructure.
It really challenges the status quo.
It does. By tackling those problems of high costs and centralized control in traditional telecom, and by successfully navigating this complex landscape of technology, economics, and regulation, Helium is definitely paving a new path for how we might think about global connectivity.
It is incredible to think about how just a simple device sitting in your home could contribute to building a global network, directly impacting not only maybe your own mobile plan cost, but potentially revolutionizing how countless smart devices connect all around us. It truly makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Indeed. And maybe the final thought to leave people with is, if the world truly embraces decentralized networks like Helium, and individuals find they can collectively own and operate such critical infrastructure, well, what other essential services that are maybe currently monopolized by just a few large entities could also be put back into the hands of the people? It's a provocative thought about the future of shared ownership and utility.
This is a great point to quickly pause and remind our listeners of something.
That's right. If you're enjoying how we break down these complex projects into hopefully simple pieces and want more deep dives just like this one, make sure you subscribe to our channel, CryptoBox. We do all the complex research, so you don't have to.